All right, y'all, welcome back to the channel. As y'all can see, the car is finally back. So, I am going to give y'all an update on everything that kind of happened with the car, everything, that I went through with the car and all that good stuff to get us to where we are today. If you're new to the channel, appreciate you being here. Hopefully you can learn something new, something insightful from me about the whole process that I've had with this car. So shout out to McGrady Racing for rebuilding the car, essentially, doing just a ton of work to it, and making sure that everything looks decent underneath the hood, everything works properly and all that good stuff. So I'll be releasing a video again as far as like everything that occurred with the car to get you all up to speed. But for this particular video, I'm going to be talking about one of the things that still needs to be done and just kind of giving y'all a heads up on what it is and how to go about doing it. So, like I said before, everything's done with the car except for the tune. But in order to get the tune done, we've got to put a 3-bar map sensor into the car, which I'll go around the other side to show you all that. Right now, it only has a 1-bar map. So we got to replace this guy right here. So in order to do that, there is a specific map sensor and part number, stuff like that that you need. So if you have an LS7, if you have an LS3 or an LS9, like the ZR1, or base model, or even a Grand Sport, a C6, and all of those categories, the 3-bar map will automatically just, work for your intake manifold. But if you don't, and you have an LS7 like me, then you've got to get these 2 parts right here. So this is the new map sensor. So right there, you've got the OEM part number right there, that 555-67257 right there. That is the sensor that you're going to want if you're trying to obtain a 3-bar map sensor for your boosted application on your C6 Z06. And you'll also need a converter harness. So let's see if we got a part number here. So let's see. So this right there is the part number that you're going to need. So with that being said, if you have a stock intake manifold like me, you're going to notice that this map sensor right here, it's a different size. So I've looked on the forums and all that good stuff to figure out that the bore, if you will, the part where that the sensor goes into the intake manifold is smaller than this port right here. So you see that? It's pretty thick. And I'll show y'all the other one so that you can see kind of the size difference. So I'm going to get this pulled apart. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do this without compromising or without, putting plastic shavings into here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drill out this hole and make it a little bigger. And I will let y'all know what size I've had to drill it to make it perfect, to where it's airtight. But first thing I'm going to do is remove the throttle body, because I'm going to go ahead and put some rags in here. That way, as I'm drilling, nothing flies back into the intake manifold, because that's the last thing that you want. So I need to get to work taking off the throttle body first, then protecting this, and then I can get to drilling this out. But Let me go ahead and take this out, show you all the size difference, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove the throttle body so that I can protect the inside of the intake manifold. Okay, so real quick, one thing I forgot to mention is before you start doing this, what I would do, and maybe you don't have to do this, but what I'd do is I'd go ahead and disconnect the negative battery terminal. So that screw is just a 10 mil, you know, just get whatever, 10 mil, ratchet, whatever, disconnect that. And make sure that you pull your door open because these are electronic doors, especially if you don't have a physical key. So just crack your door, and I just leave the tailgate up. So before you start unplugging all the electronics and stuff, it's just good practice to disconnect the negative battery terminal if you're going to be dealing with electronics. All right, so I'm going to get to that in a second. Let me show you all this like I said I would. So as you can see, these are both, they look kind of similar, but they're not the same size. So you might not be able to tell all that great in the video, but this one is smaller than that opening. So this one's also got this gasket, if you will. So what I did was remove the intake tube right here. Of course, plug that up. And what I did was I took some of these blue rags and I stuffed it. You can see down there, you can see the rag. So at the end of this, you know, all the shavings and stuff like that are going to fall onto the rag. And then also I'm going to put a little grease around there. That way the bit doesn't catch and, you know, decide it wants to go through the whole deal. So what I'm also going to do is put some electric tape above, like, to plug that hole up. That way, if anything does fall, it'll catch on some of that electric tape as well. So I'm doing my best to make sure that nothing goes into that intake, right? Because that's the goal here, is make sure nothing goes into there. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that up with some tape. And again, I'm going to put the tape, and then it's going to be all the rags, and then of course in the opening, so no bugs or whatever decide they want to fly into my air intake. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to get to drilling. So I got to borrow my buddy's Milwaukee drill, and this is the bit that I'm using here. So this one right here, as you can see, 15-30 seconds is what I'm going to be drilling it out to. Now, this is actually a bit smaller than what it actually calls for. So I've decided to go just a tad bit smaller. So I'm going to open this up a little more, but not as big as the standard LS3 intake, because I don't have a bit for that. But I mean, when I say it'll be snug, it should get in there, but it'll be super, super snug, which will also make it airtight. So I'm going to go ahead and get to work on that, and I'll let y'all know what happens. So I also decided to get this little vacuum deal, you know, those little pieces. And so I'm going to try to see if I can't, you know, vacuum out anything that happens to get in there. But I think between the tape, the grease, the rags, all that stuff, I should be pretty good. But just in case there's any excess, we're going to go ahead and, you know, get out any that we can. So we're going to go ahead and use our good old Smith & Wesson knife here. Let's see, this thing needs to be sharpened. Oh, we're doing pretty good. There we go. Cool. So if you got any small vacuum or whatever at your disposal, I'd use that too, just to get any lingering things up out of that bore and out of your intake. Okay, so one other tip to keep in mind. So whenever you're using one of these bit pieces like this, right, and especially when you're going to drill into this right here. So I just finished opening that hole up a little more. So what I did And this is what I recommend. So first off, I put a little bit of grease on there, right? And I went in the opposite direction for a little bit, right? Just to kind of get the bore to where it's set. So whenever you don't need to apply any pressure to this. It'll do all the work for you. But the thing to keep in mind is whenever you're doing this bit is going to want to go, you got to go super slow, because if you do it this way, right? Like if you're going to the right, it's going to want to drill straight through, and it's going to happen quick, right? So what I did was, right, as you can see, it's already, I've already opened it, but what I did was I went in reverse so that I could set the bit, and then just for a second, just lightly like that, and it'll go through. You don't even need to hold it that long. It's really just a blip, just not that fast, but just a little blip. So you can even start slow like this, right? So get it on there, start slow, and it'll do the work for you. So don't go fast. If you can control this, right? I can't stress it enough that, first set that hole and then go the opposite direction, just like that. Because it'll drill in there for you. It wants to dig. So you got to be real careful whenever you're doing this, that you don't put a hole straight through your intake manifold. Because this thing, it'll do it real easy. So you just got to do it just a little blip, just like that. Just like that. And then back it up. Go in the reverse. And then you can go ahead and just polish it out. Just polish it out. Okay? So I'm done doing that. So I'm going to see if I can't set the sensor, and then I'll get back in touch with you guys. But remember, if you're using a piece like this, first go the opposite direction to just get that opening set so the drill doesn't walk, and then go back the other way just for a second, just a little blip. Not even that much, but you'll feel it try to grab the tool. So just a quick little blip, and that's it. So real quick, y'all can see a lot of this shaving. I accidentally have the tape sticking to itself, but y'all can see just how much this tape picked up. And I'm gonna vacuum this out in a second here. So the rag caught some too, but for the most part, it all got onto this tape. So I'd highly recommend taping that opening. You might tape it a couple times too, and try not to let the bit go through the tape. Okay, so because that'll help out a lot. All right, there you have it. Whoops, don't need that going down in there. Just gonna move this to the side. All right, so there you go. Fits nice and snug on there. And actually slip right in. Used a little bit of grease on the outside of the map sensor, but slid right in. So now I'm gonna just go ahead and connect this. And then I've got to put the intake back on, which has been a kind of a pain. I've been working at that for like 30 minutes, trying to get that together, but I figure I'll go ahead and just put the map sensor in. So map sensor installed. Everything should be good with it. Had a little bit of resistance, but for the most part, it just slipped in and went on smooth. So very happy with that. Cleaned out the inside, very, very good. Like I said, got in there real good, vacuumed, and, made sure that there wasn't any junk in there. So I got like 2 pieces out of there, but that was it. The tape seemed to have gotten really everything else. So, and whatever, didn't catch on the tape or that I got with the vacuum or with one of the cloths. So there we go. So if you have any questions, comment down below. I'll let y'all know any other details. I don't think I forgot anything, but if y'all have any difficulties, let me know and I'll see how I can help. All right. Good luck, guys.